And if we maintain friendly ties with such people, if we take weapons from them to go wage a jihad in Syria, if we take money from them and from their allies, and Saudi Arabia is an ally, to go and wage a jihad in Libya and in Syria, what will be the implication? The verse continues. It says, وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّهُ مِنْكُمْ فَإِنَّهُ مِنْهُمْ. This is a very heavy statement in the Quran. And whosoever from amongst you turn to them with such a relationship of friendship and alliance, you now belong to them. You no longer belong to us. فَإِنَّهُ مِنْهُمْ. This is what happened in 1897. A Zionist movement came into being, created primarily by Zionist Jews, but then bringing together Zionist Jews with Zionist Christians. And a Judeo-Christian alliance emerges on the stage of the world. And the Quran is prohibiting us from maintaining friendly ties with them. It is about this time that this alliance, they have been preparing for it before. And in a country called, where was it? A little north of South Africa. Was it Zambia? I don't know what name they used at that time. Southern Rhodesia, probably. Yeah. A child was playing, an African child was playing, and the child found a large stone that was glittering. Botswana. Took the stone home. The father took the stone to the commissioner of that district. The commissioner sent it to Johannesburg. Johannesburg looked at it and said, "This is the biggest diamond." This is the biggest diamond we've ever seen for a long, long time. And that didn't happen by accident. Because the Messenger of Allah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam had said that the earth would reveal its treasures for Dajjal. And so the mining of diamonds took place in southern Africa. What was his name? The fellow who came and ripped them all off. And then they put his statue there somewhere at the back of Cape Town on the hill. Cecil what? Cecil John what? Ah, you got his name. He did the work to ensure that the Africans who worked in digging the hole, like the one in Kimberley, called Big Hole, you must go and see it. They say you can put 5 jumbo jets down in that hole. Then the Africans were kept happy with fire water, alcohol. And they were exploited. They used their labor. And then the diamonds were taken out, and they were called diamond veins down at the bottom, way down. The only people who had the technology to go down so deep into the earth was that Western civilization that Dajjal had created with its scientific and technological revolution. And Cecil John Rhodes got all of the diamonds to go up to Europe, to the Rothschilds. They had them polished and cut and so on, and they had them put on the market. And during the last decade, and the first decade, the last decade of the 19th century and the first decade of the 20th, the Zionists were able to amass all the money that they needed in cash. So that by 1914, when they were ready, they could close down Kimberley. I don't know how many South Africans know that. Two, which is just 4 years, 5 years after mentioned to. In 1902 we see the beginning of the Arab Spring. And that is Abdulaziz ibn Saud and his clan, who had been driven out of the Arabian Peninsula, they were somewhere in Kuwait, were able to make a comeback. And they took the city of Riyadh, 1902. Your Arab Spring has started. But in 1902 something else happened. The Zionists had been at work, modern Western civilization, in trying to brainwash people, officers in the armed forces of the Ottoman Empire and intellectuals in the Ottoman Empire, to secularize their thinking. The Ottoman Empire had for some time now been described derisively by Europe as the sick man of Europe because all the rest of Europe was benefiting from the scientific and technological revolution and was becoming militarily more and more powerful. The economy of Europe was improving because it's an exploitative economy. Europe had been sending her armies out into the world and occupying and colonizing the rest of the world, using the newfound military power that came from the scientific and technological revolution. And money is flowing back into Europe. Europe is growing more and more wealthy and militarily more and more powerful, and the Ottoman Empire is left behind. The Ottomans attempted to copy, to mimic, to follow the pattern of Europe, to try to bring about some change in their own economy and bring about some change in their own military science. But it was to no avail, because Dajjal was the author of that scientific and technological revolution. And this disparity between the Western world and the Ottoman world impacted upon the intelligentsia and impacted upon the Ottoman military. And from their ranks emerged those who now wanted change. We want the Ottoman Empire to be changed, and we want it to become like Europe. These people were called the Young Turks, for want of a better name. And the Zionists had been cultivating ties with them. Amongst the Zionists were those who were Jews and who had pretended to leave Judaism and had become Muslims. They had Muslim names. There was a term used to describe these people. I don't know whether my pronunciation is correct of this Turkish term. They're called Domni. Amongst them was Mustafa Kemal. In 1902, France hosted a conference which brought together not only these people from the Turkish homeland, Ottomans, but also Christian minorities who were opposed to the Ottoman Empire. And that conference, which took place in Paris in 1902, was responsible for charting the way for the revolution of all revolutions. Yes, the French Revolution was important. Yes, the American Revolution was important. Yes, the Bolshevik Revolution was even more important. But nobody ever talks about this revolution. This one, they put it under the wraps. They don't want us to focus on this revolution. This was the most important of all. It took them only 6 years, from 1902 to 1908, to succeed. In 6 years' time, they overthrew, it's called regime change. Yeah. They overthrew the Ottoman Sultan, whose name was, we don't even remember his name now, Abdul Hamid. Sultan Abdul Hamid was overthrown. He had to step down. And these secular Turks, the books now, to study how the Ottoman government, these essentially godless secular people, now pursue a policy of antagonizing the Arabs from Constantinople, antagonizing the Arabs in the Arabian Peninsula in particular. Why are they doing that? They follow a second policy, not only of antagonizing the Arabs, but antagonizing Muslims. Because they want to provoke, you know the word, a revolt. They want to provoke a revolt. At the same time that they are doing that work from Constantinople, Britain sends her spies into Arabia with a fat checkbook